The 1950s and 1960s was when the pop industry took over. This was when picture television was introduced. This meant that the audience were able to see the faces of their stars, which made them even more popular. The 1960s was a time when portable radios such as the boombox were introduced, which allowed teenagers to go where they wanted, listening to their favourite tunes. Also in the 1960s, the Beatles, which were a massive band, they were classed as the biggest boy band across the world. They made history 2 weeks after arriving in the USA because they set a record that is not likely to be broken. With the song Can't Buy Me Love, they took all 5 of the top positions in the Billboard, and in 1967 the rock and roll era came to life. It started with Rock Around the Clock. This gave a whole new sound to the charts, introducing African tribal music and the emotions that came along with it. The top songs in 1960 were as followed. In 1960, there was Theme for Summer Place by Percy Faith. In 1961, there was Tossin' and Turnin' by Bobby Lewis. In 1962, there was Stranger on the Shore by Mr. Acapulco, which I think that's right. In 1963, there was Sugar Shack by Jimmy Glimmer and the Fireballs. In 1964 was I Want to Hold Your Hand by the Beatles. Also in 1964, the Beatles made an unbeatable record with Can't Buy Me Love, which reached top 5 on a lot of the billboards. And in 1965, there was Wooly Bully by Sam, the Sham and the Pharaohs. In 1966, The Ballad of the Green Berets, which is by Barry Sadler. And in 1967 was To Sir With Love by Lulu. And in 1968 was Hey Jude by the Beatles again. And in 1969 was Sugar Sugar by Archies. In 1970s, this was the time that America started to notice a massive change in their music industry, with new music styles such as metal, heavy metal, punk rock and hip hop. And in 1979, the Buggles released a music video called Video Killed the Radio Star, which was later aired by MTV. Elton John became the biggest pop star of the decade in the UK, with hits that ranged massively in music style, going from ballads to arena rock. In 1974, during the Eurovision contest, the nation was introduced to ABBA, a band that is still the most successful in their home country, Sweden. They were one of the first widely known European groups, and their most popular songs are Take a Chance on Me and Dancing Queen, which many people of the younger generation will probably more likely to recognise as songs from Mamma Mia the film, as it features many of the ABBA songs. In the 1970s, the top songs were as followed. In the 1970s was Bridge Over Troubled Water by Simon Garfunkel, which I believe. And in 1971 was Joy to the World by Three Dog Night. In 1972, The First Time I Ever Saw Your Face by Robert Flack. And in 1973, Tie a Yellow Ribbon Around the El Oak Tree by Tony Orlando and Dawn. In 1974, The Way We Are by Barbara Streisand. In 1975, Love Will Keep Us Together by Captain and Tennille. In 1976, Silly Love Song by Wings. And in 1977, Tonight's the Night Is Gonna Be Alright by Rod Stewart. And in 1978 is Shadow Dancing by Andy Gibbon. And finally, in 1979 was My Sharona by The Knacks. 1980s was a massive year for MTV. Carrying on from the Buggles in 1979, MTV aired their first music video in 1981, which was of course the great hit Video Killed the Radio Star. In 1980, MTV first went on air, and 3 years later, they created and produced and presented the first VMA, which is the Video Music Awards. MTV favoured three certain solo artists such as Michael Jackson, Prince and Madonna. Now, these three had one thing in common. They all had a very strong visual appearance, which had become majorly important as the increase of people owning TVs went up. In 1980 was Call Me by Blondie. In 1981 there was Bette Davis Eyes by Kim Carnes. And in 1982 was Physical by Olivia Newton-John. In 1983, Every Breath You Take by Police. In 1984, When Dovers Cry by Prince. And when 1985 was Careless Whisper by Wham. And in 1986, That's What Friends Are For by Donny and Friends. And in 1987, Walk Like Egyptian by the Bangles. In 1988, Faith by George Michael. And in 1989 is Look Away by Chicago. 1990s is a massive era for people in England and the UK, especially the royal family, as 1997 marks the death of Princess Diana. Elton John rewrote, played and sang Candle in the Wind, which was a song originally written for Marilyn Monroe after her death of an overdose back in 1962. The song was also used for Ryan White, who died after receiving AIDS from a blood transfusion at only the age of 18. The first line changed from Goodbye Norma Jean to Goodbye England's Rose, which is what Princess Diana was referred to. However, after rewriting the song for Princess Diana, Elton John stated that he would never again perform or sing that song as he felt it would lose its meaning. The 90s was also an era that saw many different genres of music. During 1992, there was an increase of popularity for rap music and techno, which is house music. Songs such as Pump Up the Jam by Technotronic, I believe it's called, that was majorly popular, and this kind of genre was beginning to increase. In 1990s, Hold On by Wilson Phillips, and in 1991 it was I Do It For You by Bryan Adams. In 1992, End of the Road by Boyz II Men. 1993 was I Will Always Love You by Whitney Houston. In 1994, The Sign of Ace of Base. In 1995 was Gangsta Paradise by Coolio. In 1996 was Macarena by Bayside Boy Mix and Los Del Rio. And in 1997 was Candle in the Wind, Something About the Way You Look Tonight by Elton John, which he rewrote for Princess Diana. And in 1998 was Too Close by Next, and in 1999 was Believe by Cher. In the 2000s, the music industry was introduced to the internet, which was a massive breakthrough as it meant that songs were easily accessible and people could choose the songs they wanted to listen to a lot easier. It made a huge difference in the production side of music. In the early 2000s, there were portable CD players which wouldn't have fitted in your pocket, but they might have fitted in your bag. But later on, now at the time of 2016, all of our songs are on our phones or on little iPods, which easily fit in our pockets, which makes music a lot more portable and easier to access. Apps such as Spotify and YouTube makes music free for people to download and listen to now, and it gives people straight access to the songs that we all love. And as a result of this, HMV have had to close many of their stores due to the lack of people not investing in CDs because they're not as portable anymore. In the 2000s, Breathe by Faith Hill. In 2001 was Hanging by a Moment by Lifehouse. In 2002 we had How You Remind Me by Nickelback. In 2003 was In the Club by 50 Cent. In 2004 was Yeah by Usher, Lil Jon and Ludacris. And in 2005, We Belong Together by Mariah Carey. And in 2006 was Bad Day by Daniel Powter. 2007 was Irreplaceable by Beyonce. In 2008 was Low by Flo Rida featuring T-Pain. In 2009 was Boom Boom Pow by Black Eyed Peas. In 2010 it was TikTok by Kesha. In 2011 was Rolling in the Deep by Adele. In 2012 was Somebody I Used to Know by Gotchi featuring Kimbra. In 2013 was Thrift Shop by Macklemore and Ryan Lewis featuring Wands. And in 2014 was Happy by Pharrell Williams. And finally in 2015 was Uptown Funk by Mark Robinson and Bruno Mars.